The reality outside of the beautiful house and family image, who you marry will see you at your worst. Hey, it's me. So today I wanted to share my thoughts about marriage and the idea of marriage, because I feel like people like the idea of marriage more than they like the actualization of marriage. The idea is the nice house, 2.5 kids, white picket fence, with a beautiful family riding off into the sunset of eternal bliss together, with the 0.5 of 2 kids being a cat or a dog. The actualization is vulnerability, the financial challenges, the intimacy issues, and the hardships. The reality outside of the beautiful house and family image that's often painted. Who you marry will see you at your worst. There can be no perfect Patty or pristine Paul. Realistically, we do want to show up as the best version of ourselves. But denying our truth and not allowing our partners to tend to the parts of ourselves that may make us feel less than isn't sustainable for longevity. There is a saying of when you know, you know. But when is it that you feel like you know? How much do you know in 30, 60, or 90 days compared to the next 10, 20, 30, or 40 years of your life? I'm not saying if you genuinely feel like you know and you think someone is it to ignore that, but rather give it time. You don't need to rush to propose and move in within the first 2 months of meeting each other. Enjoy the excitement of dating and getting to know each other. Rushing to get to the altar does not guarantee longevity. I think some of this is a societal standard or maybe even family pressure. You may feel like by this age in life, you should have ... And if you don't, then something is wrong with you, or you better hurry up because the clock is ticking and time's going to run out. Rushing doesn't create happiness, and it certainly doesn't create sustainability or durability, because things are going to be hard. If you break down your life in 3 to 5 year segments, do you have any parts that are completely non-existent of anxiety, pain, frustration, or hardships? I'm not saying the ups won't have downs or vice versa. Marrying someone won't eradicate your hardships, no matter how much you want to check that box off of your life goals. And if you are with the right person, they should actually help relieve frustration. But if you're married to the idea of marriage instead of the actualization of it, you may think you're ready when you're not. But you just didn't realize it until after you slept together, or after you met each other's families, after you moved in together or proposed. When your relationship started feeling like a box you couldn't escape out of instead of a comfort you could run home to. Maybe you slipped up, or you just realized that you want to be single and explore your life independently without any commitments. This can be really hard to admit to whoever you're with, but more importantly, to yourself, especially if you have external pressure nudging you towards marriage. So it goes back to that thing of us wanting to be the best version of ourselves, but we also need to be able to be our vulnerable self. You have to be willing to be vulnerable and open up. Be honest with yourself about how you really feel, because a healthy relationship involves a high level of communication where emotions aren't swept under the rug and your true feelings are expressed. And this expression of vulnerability applies to both scenarios, if you feel like you're ready or if you feel like you aren't. The foundation of marriage should set a tone that allows you to speak your truth. This doesn't mean that it's okay to say rude things, lash out, make petty remarks, or yell and scream. Saying things that you resent definitely won't help get you anywhere. But the point is to express it with care and sensitivity that you would want yourself. And this doesn't mean to sugarcoat it. So you could say, I care about you, but I'm not ready to get married. It's a huge responsibility. I don't feel ready to take it on. Forever is a long time, and I'm not ready to commit to it. Everyone tells me that I should, and I feel like I'm forcing myself, and it doesn't feel right no matter how much I love you. Versus saying, I ain't ready for all this, and you probably ain't ready for this either, So we just need to let this go. People can't be trusted. What are we rushing for? I'm still down for a good time if you're down for a good time. Or saying, I really love you, but let's just wait a couple years and then we can get a house and then we can just move in together. One of those statements takes some accountability, while the other makes assumptions on what their partner may feel or what other people may feel and kind of removes themselves from the situation. And the last statement just prolongs it, and in some situations, in a couple of years, maybe they really may be ready. Or you may look up and 7 years later, you're still waiting for them to settle down and marry you. We fake ready out of guilt, obligation, ignorance, or duty. But you can only hold a poker face for so long. Live your truth even if it feels disappointing to yourself. You should live the life you want to, not what you feel like you're obligated to. It's better than a messy divorce, house war, or a custody battle. And this isn't to discourage marriage, but to dilute the idea that it's just this thing of an easy, happily ever after. To speak to the realization that it takes effort and it's better to have someone who sees your internal battle scars and loves them and they want to be there for you than someone who only wants the superficial aspects of you. So this reminds me of a quote, and it said to entertain what attracts you, but only choose a person based on what fulfills you. So the idea of marriage can look like a pretty picture out of a Disney movie, but the actualization of it takes effort, vulnerability, consistent communication to maintain a valuable connection over a long period of time. And I feel like having someone that you can share your secrets with, but also are there for the highs and the lows, is much better than some pretty picture of someone who is only there for the fun. Anyways, these are just my random thoughts.